Alright, I will be showing how to do tool touch off using LinuxCNC. Alright, so to do tool touch off LinuxCNC, you're going to want to go ahead and open LinuxCNC first. Or in this case, this is the Axis interface for LinuxCNC. And of course, always home your machine first. First step, home your machine. Okay, after your machine is homed, make sure and remove any tools that you have currently in. Okay, remove any tools, no tools whatsoever. Put them away neatly. Don't damage them. And you will be needing this tool here. This would be a dial indicator, finger indicator, and this is called a Tormach holder, which allows you to use an ER20 collet, or excuse me, certain type collet that you can put various size tools in between, you know, pretty small to about, you know, ½ inch or so. Anyways, load up this tool. This is going to be the main way that you're able to do tool length offsets. Load the tool. It doesn't need to be tight. The main thing is it has to be firmly seated. So give it a good firm seat. Make sure there's no chips, no nothing up in there. This needs to be like where you are at every single time you do it. Now, back over at the Axis interface, you will want to notice that you have an MDI. And you need to call M6 T0. This will set the tool that you are currently using to 0, which is a non-existent tool. I mean, it is, but it's not a tool that can be used by anything. And you will be prompted by a message telling you to remove the tool and continue. So, remove tool, put that in there, you're good to go. Continue. Now, at this point is where you want to select this top of your stock. So I'm going to load up a piece of stock real quick. I'm going to tighten it down. Alright. This is the top surface that we are going to be working from. So you run any program, everything is going to be based off the top of this. And what we'll want to go ahead and do is move our axes. Move the axes around. Bring this dial indicator down onto the top of the stock. That's going to be the first step. Always top the stock. Bring it, once you're almost onto the stock, turn your steps, your jog steps, down as low as possible, so that you're in like the 10/100,000ths of a step, and bring it all the way down. And just, it doesn't matter where this needle is pointed, you can adjust it from here or whatever, but make sure that you find a spot on this indicator that you are going to know from. So I'm going to set this at 0. So there's 0. Now in axis, come over, and this is where it will mess you up every time. That make 100% sure that you have the Z-axis selected and touch off. Here it will ask you the relative to workpiece. We are going to call this 0. So this is 100% 0 on the current system, which could be G54, or you have options. But okay, let's not mess this. You're just going to go ahead and say, okay, 0. So now this says 0. This is 0. 100% 0. Let's go ahead and lift everything off here and bring our x-axis over to something that we can use to actually like set the tool lengths on. Something that's not like we have to move the block over to check the height of the tool. We're just using something that we can slip under there real quick and easily. Okay, so don't get squirrely when you do this. Make sure your steps are like where you're able to control this machine. So now, bring finger gauge underneath. Okay, I'm on it, so I'm gonna step my steps down to like 10/100,000ths. And bring this to 0 as well. So now what this is doing is, because we took the distance from the top of this to the top of there, we are able to come over an axis and see what that distance is, which on this case situation is negative 1.8764. This is 1.8674 of distance from the top of this to the top of this block that we just set under there. So let's go ahead and write that down on a piece of paper, if I can find one. So a piece of paper. You have to speed this up in a second here. There's just a lot of stuff going on around here. And I will have to write this down on a piece of paper. Hold on. As soon as I find a pen. So we found the distance between the top of this to the top of that. And in the software, we're able to see on this Z right here is negative 1.8764. So we'll write that down, negative 1.8764. That is the distance between there and there. Now, what we can go ahead and do is we can switch tools. So if I can increase the speed here, we're going to go ahead and switch a tool. Take the gauge out. And let's go ahead and pick a tool. Let's go with the, I don't know, our traditional center drill. So here's center drill. And as you can see, it's not nearly as long as some, like a 1/2 inch. You see, like, we always have consistent distance here, but this is definitely shorter. That's a long with her. Let's go ahead and load it up. And we will call this tool number 1. So that's tool number 1. Let's go ahead and bring this down without crashing, please. Okay. I need to turn my steps down. I mean, this is sketchy, okay? You're going to be trying to make a video super quick. Make sure you know what the fuck's going on. Now, the idea here is we know the distance between here and there. We're going to bring the tool down below this. And now we're able to slide the block under. And we're going to lift the Z-axis up tell the block just fits under. Okay? And if you want to get technical, you can bring it down to the 10/100 thousandths, bring it back down, and do it again. Until with push and pressure on the side, there, that was it. Okay, and that it doesn't even, it's barely fitting there. Now, back on the axis, we need to tell us which tool we're using. So now we're using tool 1. We're going to go M6 T1. It says insert tool 1, which unfortunately has already been added. And I mean, it's already in there. I guess I could have put the tool in and then did this, but I already did this. So now this tool 1. This big cylinder shape, we'll get into that in a second. But back over here in manual control, F3 or manual control tab, now you have a tool touch off button available. If you press this tool touch off button, it will prompt you what the Z-coordinate relativeness of the workpiece was. And that was this. So from here to there, what was it? And we have that written down. We have it written down. So from here to there, what was the distance? It is negative 1.8764. Now here's another tricky thing. I'm going to go ahead and hit this. Now look, see how it says enter Z coordinate? Now here's what could accidentally happen. If you do not make sure that this is selected, you are going to hit the wrong coordinate. Okay? So now in the edit tool data, you can see right here for tool 1, this is going to be not matching this, but it's like pretty much it. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and switch tools. We'll make another tool now. Add another one. And I'm sure y'all are anxious to get out here because this is all you need to see was how to enter a single tool. But there's a lot of little tricks in this LinuxCNC. Like for instance, on that tool data chart, you have to have more than one tool than the like what you're adding after. So like if you go to add, for instance, my tool data, I have 16 tools. If I try to call up tool 16 and do what I just did, it's gonna say it's not gonna be able to do it because you have to have at least one more past the tool number. It's a weird thing. Hopefully they can fix that. But it's a little trick in there. So now we're going to switch this 1/2 inch. I've turned my phone off because unfortunately I'm never able to make a fucking video at all, like never. But I have to do this. So phone is off almost because I've put in my fucking passcode. So I'm doing that right now. Phone is off. Now I'm gonna load in a tool, and you can see the difference between this tool and that tool is much longer, so who gives a shit? But the machine does. So make sure you have a firm, flush installation of the tool. Tighten it down. I wish I had an automatic tool changer and all that jazz, but I don't because this is all I have. Make sure that when you go to move this axis that you're in like a reasonable amount of axis movement. Now besides that, we can just go ahead and call this tool number 2. So let's go M6 tool 2, and it prompts us to insert tool number 2. So it's inserted. That's the number tool. It's in there. Okay, it knows that now. Back over here, now we have a tool touch off. if I touch this tool off now, press that button, tool touch off, now it would not be right because we need to be able to do the same thing we just did a second ago. So let's bring this down. Bring our block in on the side. Slowly bring it up until it just slips under. There you go. Now back over here, tool touch off. This number is still the same. What was the distance between there and there? Still the same number. Type it in. Negative 1.8746. Negative 1.7846 from the top of that to that. Number tool 2 now knows, and it used to be that, but it's going to replace it. Okay, so it's going to replace it. There it goes. Now, here's the cool thing. Because we did this, we can call a G0, which is rapid. That just means go as quick as fucking possible to where it's going. And we can say Z, which is on the Z axis, 0. And watch this. How far it's going to get. It's going to lift that far. On the X axis, we can go ahead and verify this as long as we're in the manual mode. And see how this tool is negative. It knows this now. Okay, now if we put in the tool number 1 and we tell it that it's number 1, because I mean right now it thinks it's tool number 2 because it is. That is tool number 2 in there. We put in the tool number 1. Over back in axis, we go to the tool number 2, or tool number 1, sorry. This is tool number 1, bring it up. It says insert it, it's inserted, continue, there it is. Has completely different height. But tool length offset might not be enabled, so if I call this, it might think it's the wrong tool. But let's go ahead and test this real quick. And yep, see, it still thinks it's that. So what you have to do is G43. And down here in the active G codes, we have a G43. But we need to tell it T1. Because that's what we have. We have G43 T1. Hit OK. Now it knows that it's on T1. Boom. Run that G0. And what we got going on again? Same thing. See? All right, so that is how you can have multiple tools and using tool length offset. And what's happening is it's going to this tool data table, and on the Z axis, it is entering the new value for it relative to the machine height. So, I mean, it doesn't look the same in here, but your main thing you're looking at is how the beginning of this video started for setting your tool length offsets. Thank you very much, and always make sure that you never have any of these selected when you're doing this procedure. Always make sure that right there is selected. If you accidentally select that, watch this. Now in my tool data, oops, well, if you put that number in there, it would be wrong. So just make sure you always have the Z axis selected before you mess with any of these buttons and do anything. All right, thanks, peace out.